Hi, this is Celeste with the Celestial Report, getting all my ducks in a row, or I think I'm getting all my ducks in a row. I'm having a trouble getting my document up where it's supposed to be. Maybe I'll go get it from. No, that's not it. I'm wondering if I can share screen. Yes, I can share screen. Okay, so I've got a lot on my mind. My harvest is over. I'm back to work, and there is a lot to catch up on. So let's get with it. I just want to say good morning to or good afternoon to Cool Donnie from Boston and Renee. And let me get my share my screen, and we will get with it. Let's see, window. Okay, so this is new from the news, and I just wanted you to all be aware that we have a new bad actor in the mix right now, and it is AI designing toxic proteins. And so I'm going to dive into this. These are going to just be little ones. Um, Artificial intelligence is currently designing synthetic toxins that evade current biosecurity screening systems. That's very important for you to remember. And I just want everyone to know that this is an original peer reviewed published source, primary source. This is not my opinion. It comes to us from Microsoft Chief Scientific Officer Eric Horvitz and Senior Applied Bioscientist Bruce Whitman, and it was published in the journal Science. Once again, this is not Celeste's um, opinion. So, what exactly are we talking about? These synthetic proteins or toxic proteins? These are synthetic heteropolymers, which means basically they are plastic artificial proteins that are designed by artificial intelligence and based on a limited set of plastic building blocks, according to the study. And what exactly do these artificial proteins or toxic proteins do? They mimic the essential functions of natural proteins and integrate seamlessly into biological systems. And if you follow my work at all, you know about the integrated weapon system. So they basically, once they're integrated into your body, they effectively replace your original design specific roles in your body. The research demonstrated that AI protein design, and the acronym for that, if you want to look it up, is AIPD, tools can generate, get this, thousands of altered versions of known toxins. I'm going to say that again because it's unbelievable. Thousands of altered versions of known toxins, such as ricin or botulism neurotoxin. And there is the HDIAC, which is a Homeland site, in 2021 said that they were concerned in 2021 that there were a, a number of new canners because of the you know what. And so they thought that the incident of botulism was going to go up. What they did not tell the public was that there is a new strain of that botulism. And that might be the first beta test of this. I'm not sure. So basically, how did they accomplish these making these synthetic building block toxic proteins? They basically changed the amino acid sequences and preserved the harmful structure and function of these toxic proteins. Now, if you're looking up and you're going to do some research on this, what they refer to these are not toxic proteins, but they call them paraphrased proteins. So now you've got the code word. And what does it do? It kind of bypasses your existing DNA screening, both in your body and if, let's say, you were having some biomarkers taken. and it is used by companies that synthesize the genetic material, exposing a significant vulnerability in the global biosecurity framework. Now, who is the company that's at the leader of the pack? So it's Microsoft. And researchers at Microsoft used AI to generate over 75,000 variants of 72 hazardous proteins. They did red team exercise these toxic proteins. They didn't give us a lot of detail about that, but the red teaming was done to test the resilience of biosecurity protocols, simulating how malicious actors might exploit AI to circumvent or safety checks. The team discovered that AI failed to detect many of the very AI generated variants of these toxic proteins. So Microsoft hold on just a sec. Give me a time in the garden and I don't do my computer very well. So Microsoft collaborated with DNA synthesis companies to deploy upgraded algorithms that supposedly can identify a broader range of these modified sequences. But despite this upgrade, the updated software still cannot detect a fraction of the variants. So we still have a big problem on our hands. And is there anything you can do about it? I don't think so. Now, moving on to another topic. Thank you for coming in today and learning with me. I was learning about these this morning, so I'm passing it on to you, and I can answer any questions afterwards. So the super adjuvant nanoparticle apple prevents cancer. This is also a primary source from a peer review magazine known as Cell Reports Medicine. And I give you the hyperlink, and it's entitled Super Adjuvant Nanoparticles for Platform for Cancer. So this particular lab has a lipid-based super adjuvant nanoparticle that is stably encapsulating adjuvants that activate immunity in a coordinated and synergistic way once it gets inside. And how they describe it is our lipid-based nanoparticle platform co-encapsulates the agonists of the simulator with two different programs. One is a nanoparticle interferon genes called STING. And what is STING? It's a simulator of interferon genes, and the acronym is STING. And it's known to be a transmembrane protein. So let's take this apple, for instance. Hopefully you can see it, or in your mind you can think about an apple. This skin is the membrane. So what it does is it comes in contact, and that's where the nanoparticles work. And then there's also a TEM173, which is a key regulator protein. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's still the STING one. So what the two things that I want you to remember about the STING is that it is both a direct DNA sensor and is also a synthetic signaling protein. I want you to remember both of those things because you're going to start seeing this coming out in the news. So it also has toll-like receptors. We began talking about toll-like receptors in 2020, and they activate two distinct intercellular, that's in between your cells, signaling, and there's superhighways in your body for travel and communication. And so that's what this does. And somehow my thing, so it promotes synergistic production. of macrophages and the inflammatory cytokines in innate antigen. Oops. Like I said, don't get me away from my computer too long. I forget how to use it. Um, if you did decide to get for this treatment for cancer, you would need to get it every 250 days approximately. That's how long the study lasted. Okay, now we're going to go on to this is the last technical one, and then I've got some other news to give you, and then I would love to answer your questions. Targeted drug delivery enhanced by a logic programmed protein. And this is an actual picture from this study. And once again, this is not my opinion. This comes from the University of Washington, a new study from them on programmable proteins. So today, we're talking all about proteins. So I think you can see that there is a war on protein right now. And these logic proteins, synthetic proteins, would be making molecular decisions inside your body. So this was published, the proof of principle in Nature Chemical Biology by Cole DeForest, PhD, professor of chemical engineering and bioengineering at the University of Washington, and his colleagues. And basically, they call it a new class of logic programmed protein circuits capable of autonomously, that's no human in the loop, controlling drug localization and release. Now, that could be good in a certain instance. Let's say you broke your little toe and they wanted to do an anti inflammatory to just your little toe. That might be good, but in other instances, it might not be. So I just want you to be aware that this technology is something that you may be running into at some point. So, this study demonstrated that proteins can be engineered to perform complex logical operations. And I have to laugh at this. This is what they consider complex, but it is very impactful to you and I. The words and, or, and yes gates. Basically, these are, if you're familiar with the uh, where you have to drive off and get your car inspected for watercraft and that kind of stuff. It's basically a gate, and so it can have a few different things that it can do, not just a single thing, depending on a combination of biological or environmental cues. So now we're going to go on to the post office. And what's new with the post office? Your papers, please. So the government issued identification requirements are going to start being done in earnest at all U.S. post office locations to access services such as picking up your mail. And so for me in this small town, they don't deliver the mail. So every time I have to carry two forms of identification. And yes, these forms of identification are logged and recorded into a database. And what will they accept for your primary ID? It must be a photo ID, government issued, of course. And then a secondary ID that includes your home address. It could be a state driver's license, a non-driver ID card, US passport, or US permanent resident card, or government tribal ID. Oh, that's the primary. The secondary must show your home address, and it includes things like this is to pick up your mail, everybody, your lease, your mortgage, your deed of trust, your voter registration card, your vehicle registration policy, or your home or vehicle policy. So that's quite interesting. And the last one I'm going to share with you today, and then I'll try and answer your questions because it's been a while. I just want you to be alerted to the fact that There are essential government workers and there are non essential government workers. And the CDC National Immunization Survey, known as the NIS, is considered an essential government service because it provides critical public health data used to monitor coverage across the United States. The survey helps federal, state, and local health agencies assess how well immunization programs are working and identify gaps in access or uptake. It includes things like they're going to be asking you, it's a survey, so they're going to ask a bunch of questions about your children and their age, teenagers, adults with specific health issues, and also modules for the flu or anything pandemic. These surveys are typically conducted annually or continuously, providing real time insights during public health emergencies and pandemics. But they are also being used right now. And if you don't answer the phone, they will call you back and keep pestering you. So, anyway, does anyone uh, have any questions? I'm sorry, my computer is doing all this weird stuff. I pushed the wrong button. Hold on. Not now. Come on. Out of here. Okay. Um, let's see. You are presenting us a blank screen. Sorry about that. I don't know why it was blank. It said it was sharing my screen. So I have no idea why it was a blank screen. Well, I guess this is a memory testing for all of us. Do you have any questions on what I covered today? I know that sorry, I don't know why the presentation didn't show up. On some people, their sound doesn't come. It's something new every day, I can assure you. It's like craziness as far as technology these days. So, well, do you have any questions about anything? What's on your mind today? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of didn't look at the global situation. I was looking more kind of medical, what's happening at home. I felt that these were important issues. Yes, God's servant. Yes, eventually, yeah, it's going to go be consolidated. This is a lot like World War II, eventually, but consolidated. But the difference between now and World War II is that it will eventually be in our body. And yes, chickadee, I'm concerned about the digital ID as well. Uh, I didn't cover the digital ID. I was covering some other things. Let me just give you the titles of what I was covering. And then if you want the information, you can email me at celeste@celestialreport.com. So I'm not going to put this on the screen because it didn't work the first time. So it's AI is designing toxic proteins to replace your original design proteins in your body. Thus far, they have made these are plastic building blocks. Um, they are they change your amino acids in your body and create this harmful structure and function within your body. It bypasses DNA screening both in your body and also any AI. Microsoft, it is being used by Microsoft researchers who used AI to generate over 75,000 variants of 72 hazardous proteins. that they are considering for biological warfare. They have red teamed that exercise. That means they're fleshing it out. And what they discovered when they did this red team test was that even though AI generated these toxin variants, their algorithm, despite an updated software, still could not detect a good number of those variants. Then I talked about a super adjuvant nanoparticle that is preventing cancer, and that comes to us from Cell Reports Medicine, um, and it comes in two different forms. It's a lipid. It uses a simulator of interferon genes. The acronym is STING, known as the stimulator of interferon genes. And I went into that. You can watch this, and I went into more detail and told like receptors. And if you are going to use this as a cancer treatment, it looks like you would have to get a new treatment every 250 days. Then I went in and I talked about uh, a drug delivery enhanced logic program proteins. And basically, they are going to be making molecular decisions inside of your body. And this comes to us from Nature Chemical Biology at the University of Washington, which is, and this is describing a whole new class of logic program protein circuits that are going to go in our body, capable of autonomously, that's no human in the loop, controlling drug localization and release. Now, as I mentioned, sometimes that might be a good thing, but in other situations not. And then it does complex logical operations like and, or, and yes gates. Think of it as a gate or a door that will open or close. And basically, those and, or yes gates will um, get their cues from biological or environmental cues. Then I went and I talked about your papers, please, at the post office. They're going to start enforcing that you're going to need two forms of identification to do any post office business, including picking up your mail, even if your postmaster or mistress knows you. It's going to need to be a primary form of government ID and a secondary ID, which would include your lease, your mortgage, your deed of trust, voter registration, vehicle registration, home or vehicle insurance policy. And yes, this is going to all be documented in their database. And the last thing I covered today, this morning, was the CDC National Immunization Survey. We've gotten a couple calls here, and they're going to be calling you, they are considered an essential government worker, believe it or not, and their job is to find out your health. It's a health survey, and they are going to be asking you questions about your children, your teens, your health, and any pandemic type of stuff. And basically, it's to provide real time insights during health emergencies and pandemics. So that's what I covered. So Nick S is saying, wish I understood more about proteins. Well, everyone's talking protein, and that's the reason is because of synthetic biology and AI. They're using building blocks, kind of like Lego technology, to take out our original design. The first step was take out our original design and put in synthetic. Now we're getting to the point that there are some toxins involved, like 72,000 different toxins that they can insert. It was very interesting. I'm on a ketogenic diet, and I went to get some lab work done, which I get done every year. And when you're on a ketogenic diet. It's not like the carnivore diet. It's like, vegetables and meat, not just meat. But it showed several of my biomarkers showed that despite me eating a goodly portion of protein every day, I was low on protein. Why is this? It's because of the synthetic biology and that it's the protein that we're getting is getting swapped out. And protein is basic to life. Um, we were not designed for synthetic protein. So I hope this helps a little bit. Yes, I've got a number of things, God's servant, that I'm going to be talking about at my next community meeting. Unfortunately, I cannot discuss those things here. But if you're interested in that, that is my next community meeting where I am going to be talking about um, this protein issue and different things. So let's see, carbohydrates, those are that's your sugar, that's your energy, that's to make you go. Now the UN want, like in 2019, they wanted to allow you, I mean, you are going to see this in your day, 35 grams of proteins or carbohydrates every 21 days. That is what they're going to allow you. I figured it out that that was like two-thirds of like one of those, not a protein bar, but I don't ever buy them, like that has the oats and the Rice Krispies or whatever. People have them. They're a bar. They're about yay big. It's about two-thirds of that, and that would be all the carbohydrates you are allowed for 3 weeks. So let's see if there's any. Oh, yes, alternative homesteading. Yes, I've heard that as well. That if you were having things delivered from uh, Walmart or some of the other places, they are also asking for for your government ID. Now, don't forget that's all going into a database and it's verifying who you are. It's triangulating who you are, where you are, what you're buying, and all of that. Let's see. I'm going to go up. If you have a question, you can ask it at the bottom because I was Daryl Calhoun. This is all Revelation 13. Yes. Yes. The Watchman. Oh, yeah. I love Pada Ako. As a matter of fact, I just had a little swig. It really helps keep your mouth biome in check and you don't get cavities and it keeps your mouth from getting yucky. Daryl Calhoun, be careful with the oregano oil. If you don't if you don't add a carrier oil to it, oregano oil can burn like the dickens. It it really can burn like the dickens. But we're off topic. So let's see if there's any more. Um, God's servant. For the online meeting, yes, you do have to be a paying member. I do have lots of free videos, and I do like stuff like today. I'll be doing some shorts later, but I forgot how to do shorts because it's been so long since I've been at my computer. So I'm going to do a series of shorts. Uh, so I'll be back at the computer more now. Took me, usually it takes me 2 weeks to do my harvest, but this time it took me a month. But it's in, and now the rain is falling, and it's time to get back to work, and it feels good. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, so check out my website. It's celestialreport.com, and there are free articles. Like I said, I really haven't been doing much because I was harvest, and I've got free videos, that type of stuff. And so there's a lot of free content too. I started out doing everything free, and it wasn't until David was killed that I had to go to and everything started going up where it's pay to play. It's just expensive. Um, let's see. Well, unless you have any other questions, I think I will mosey along. Like I said, I'll probably be back tomorrow morning and or early afternoon, and we will cover some more news. And I'll try and get with my admin and see why. We'll do some experimenting. You might see me popping on and off later today to see why you couldn't see my screen. I don't know. I did share screen and I don't know. I know other people are having problems as well. So I'm not the only one. And it doesn't matter what technology. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. You can't hear your friend when they call. You can't call them, that type of stuff. Um, Mrs. I hope I pronounced this right, Asia. Um, it's already started. It just depends on if your postmaster and mistress wants to be hard nosed about it. So it's already in 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 place for right now. Well, here's an interesting thing that I'll sign off with is that because some people came in a little bit late, I am having it because of the government shutdown. A lot of my sources for the scientific material, like what is DARPA up to, what is the military up to, all these different things, they're not posting anything. Many of them, the last post they had was August, and this is October. So I don't think that the until the government shutdown is over with, if I will have access to some of the deep stuff that I usually do. If you, for those of you that do follow me at celestialreport.com, I will be putting up. I did an interview that was about an hour long on the guillotine. I found out some very interesting things. And I also just did a series that I'll be putting up on the Valkyrie. And what does the Valkyrie have to do? Valkyrie are the Norse, the chooser of the slain, um, and and Jezebel and some other things that you might really be interested. So I did that presentation on Tuesday. Um, so my admin actually is working on that right now. So, well, thank you everyone for coming in. Like I said, I will be consistent now, except when I have to maybe go to town, the big city or something. I will be posting news every day, so you can keep a lookout for me and write your questions down. And I will see you the next time, probably tomorrow, right here on YouTube. And thank you so much for your support and my love to all of you. And keep warm and keep safe. They're saying this is going to be a crazy, crazy winter. And with what I studied, I did a 7-part webinar on the weather. And yes, it's going to be a crazy winter once it actually comes. So God bless you all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.